We are connecting today after a long time, and we are going to start Venu Geet classes again. In between, there it has been a long gap. Many programs took place. Many journeys took place. Pilgrimage took place. Many yatras took place. That is the reason we could not continue with Venu Geet classes. I was thinking, I thought if we keep on postponing like this, then we won't be able to finish Venu Geet. So I decided for how many number of days we have, even if there are 3 classes or 4 classes, or maybe there is a gap in between, then please, I request all of you, please cooperate with me. In between, there are some programs, there are some traveling plans. As much as possible, we will try as much as possible to hear Venu Geet. We heard till 16th verse of Venu Geet last time, where we were listening about the clouds of Vrindavan. Today we will hear about verse number 17th. In this verse number 17th, gopis are saying something. We will hear that, what gopis are saying now. Oh, my friend, a Sakhi. Sakhi means friend. Gopis are discussing, speaking among each other. This Vanchari, Pulindagan, Vanchari means what? The one who roams around in the forest. One means forest. These are Vancharis, those who live and roam around in the forest. Pulindagan. Pulind is what? Those females who do small work, small task. Like Shabri. Like, in the pastimes of Lord Ram, there's Shabri. She belonged to a small community, small caste. So these Pulinda Kanyai, Pulinda ladies, they belong to a tribe. Those tribe, they do very small, menial tasks. So even in their heart, they have love for Krishna, Sham Sundar. So these ladies who belong to small, very less caste, small caste, how they got praying for Krishna in their heart? They are Purna because they have attraction, prem for Sham Sundar. And Sham Sundar, those those who are in touch with Sham Sundar, they are Purna. Isha Upanishad says this. Krishna is Purna, and those who are in connection with Krishna, even they are Purna. So these Pulindi Kanyai, even they are Purna. They have love for Krishna, so they are also complete. They are Purna. So my Sakhi friend, when they see when these gopis see Pulindi woman, this tribe Pulinda, then when these gopis see these ladies who belong to a very not so great community, it's their caste, which is not so high caste. But gopis are saying when they see them, even they get lust in their heart. Kam pida means love, transgender love. That love is like jumping in the heart of the gopis. Okay. So actually, Maharaj is saying here that one of the Priyasi, one of the Gopi, now Maharaj is explaining its meaning again actually. Uh, Sri Krishna, if he embraces a gopi, a friend, Sakhi, then the kumkum which is on the chest of the gopi, that kumkum, the red powder, that gets on the garland of Krishna or on the lotus feet of Krishna from the chest of the gopi. So means the gopis, the sakhis, they honored Krishna's lotus feet on their chest. So that kumkum which got on Krishna's lotus feet, that will fall on the grass when Krishna walks, on the leaves, on the grass, that kumkum will come on them. So when these Pulinda Kanyai, Pulinda Gan, means those ladies who are they belong to a tribe in the forest and they do very small tasks, they will pick up that kumkum and they would rub it on their face or on their chest, on their body, and that will enhance the love for Krishna in their heart. Actually, it will calm their lust in their heart, which they have for Krishna, their love for Krishna, which they have in their heart, that will calm down. That's a very beautiful point, actually, here. Um, in the Krishna Anuragani Vraj Ramaniya, this is the special word. The gopis who have Anurag for Krishna. Now you all know this word by now, Krishna Anuragani. Those gopis who have condensed attraction, attachment for Krishna, towards Krishna. They are speaking with their friends, among their friends, about Krishna's Venu flute song and the effect of Krishna's flute song on others. So they were describing this in detail. This is the background story which we all know. Gopis are speaking to each other, and Sham Sundar's Venu Geet is how beautiful, how attractive. All this they were talking with each other. So with that bhav, they got, very in trance. They did not realize what all they said, what all they spoke. So there are different kinds of avesh. Avesh is like trance. Bhay dutta avineshata. One abhinavesh means absorption. Abhinavesh. One absorption is such when we get in the trap of Maya, illusion, we think this world is mine and I belong to this world. I am this body. This is abhinavesh, absorption in the material world. This is how Bhyam Dhute Abhineshita. This increases fear. This increases fear. And one abhinavesh is in bhajan, absorption in bhajan. I'm chanting, and while chanting, I don't like to do anything else. I just want to do absorb. I just want to absorb in my harinam, in my japa. If some messages come, or if somebody calls me, it's like disturbance. I I'm chanting harinam, and while chanting, I'm completely absorbed. Each and every word of Harinam is clear. And at this moment, in this moment, I am at Kalandi Tanaya at the banks of Yamuna Maharani. There is a huge jewel singhasan on which Radha and Krishna are sitting. It's a jeweled singhasan, and behind them is a kadam tree. And Lalita Thakurani, Lalita Devi is doing their arti. This is the meditation, and simultaneously our Harinam should go on. Kalindira kule keli kadam ravana ratan bedhi bhusho jana. This is a bhajan by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I think. Radha Krishna, no, Narottam Das Thakur. Yugala Kishore, Radha Krishna Pranamura, Yugala Kishore. This should be our meditation. Gurudev used to say, this should be our meditation while we chant Harinam. So when someone meditates like this while chanting Harinam, at that time we don't feel like talking to anyone. Everything becomes like a disturbance. Every other thing becomes like a disturbance. This is called abhinivesh, absorption in bhajan. And even once this happens to us, then next day, if we can't do, then we feel guilty, repentance. Where is that bhajan gone? That scene which I was visualizing, that absorption in which I was absorbed, where is that gone? And then what happens? Irritation, irritation. Because now that absorption is not coming. My mind is not able to absorb in that meditation. This is a sadhak's avesh, one sadhak's avesh. But right now, what we are talking about gopis, gopis topic, they have bhav avesh. They are in such bhav, gopis, like what they are speaking, they do not realize, they don't know. They are so absorbed. This happens sometimes. Gopis is they are of high level. Sometimes even we speak sometimes something which we don't realize what we said, what we spoke, and we just kept on speaking, speaking, and speaking. So this situation is our mind is not with us. This is that situation where our mind is not with us. Gopi's mind is with Sham Sundar. That is why they are in Bhav Avesh. And in that Bhav Avesh, they did not realize what all they spoke. Sometimes they were discussing the deers, or rivers, or clouds, or peacocks, or earth, or anybody, somebody else. This is in Bhav Avesh. And in that, sometimes they discuss about the rivers like Yamuna, Maharani, and Mansi Ganga. There is no doubt about it that Yamuna, Maharani, and Mansi Ganga do have bhav. But gopis are seeing everything with their vision, their eyes of their bhav, that they are imposing in others, in Yamuna, Maharani, and Mansi Ganga. So they are seeing their bhav in others, their moods in others. And by doing this, they are uh, their condensed affection, love, their prem, their attachment towards Krishna becomes more condensed, more deeper, and it's being shown, expressed, and with Krishna's darshan, their bhav uchvas is another term now. Bhav uchvas. Oh Sham Sundar, when I will see Krishna, when I will see Sham Sundar, this they are just absorbed in this, and when they speak like this, they feel shy, the gopis, and then they try to hide their feelings, their sentiments, their moods, their bhav. This is like a recap for all of you. All the shlokas which we discussed earlier, they are explained here again in this purport. Gopis felt shy, shyness. There are two types of shyness. I did something wrong, I felt shy. Or from my mouth, I glorified myself, then we feel shy again. Oh, once I did kirtan, so I did such a nice kirtan and everybody started dancing. Speak like that and then I feel shy. So gopis, in that bhav avastha, they express their moods, their bhavs, and now they are feeling shy, and now they are hiding their bhav and moods from other sakhis, from other friends. And while doing this, they saw the clouds in the sky, Vrindavan, in the sky of Vrindavan. They started glorifying the clouds. This we discussed in previous verses. Now, while doing all this, now we come to today's point. We come to today's point. While speaking like this, now the gopis are speaking about the Pulind Kanyai. Kanyai means woman. So these women are like nomads, and this tribe is the tribe name is Pulind, and they are like teenagers. They always live in the forest. They are not city girls. They also have a love for Krishna. They also have love for Krishna, because Krishna is the only Purush, only enjoyer. They are Pulinda, so what? They are Param Sundari. They are beautiful. Means they belong to small community, small caste, but they have love for Krishna. And everybody has the right to love Krishna. So those Pulinda Kanyai, seeing their fortune, that even though they belong to a small caste community, which is not so great, they still have love for Krishna. They still have love for Krishna. So this is their like good fortune. So gopis are saying, Sakhi, oh my friend, these clouds who are in the sky, they have some thunder, like lightning, thunder and lightning. So that lightning and thunder matches with Krishna's clothes. That's why they are Krishna's friends, these clouds. Gopis are saying here, let's hear it again carefully. In previous verse, in 16th verse, Gopis described, glorified the clouds in the sky. Like these clouds are like Sham. Krishna is Ghan Sham. The skies, sorry, the clouds have lightning, and they are like bluish, blackish. So Krishna is also wearing such kind of pitambar, and even the clouds they makes thundering. So these all these resemblance, they match with Krishna. The color, the thundering, they match with Krishna. Like Krishna's body is also Megh. Krishna wears a pitambar like there is a lightning in the clouds, and Krishna plays the flute like there is a thundering in the clouds in the sky. So there is no doubt that they are same, and they are good friends, Sakha Bhav, because there is resemblance in color and nature. Because there is resemblance, though they are friends. So there's no doubt that they are friends and they resemble each other. So it's not a big thing. This is like natural, spontaneous. I resemble you, so it's common sense to become friends. So the clouds resemble Krishna, so it's but natural they will be friendly with each other. But the point is here, these nomad women, these women who live in the forest, who reside in the forest, these Pulinda Kanyaye, their fortune is so good that they are more fortunate than us. They are belonging to a very small community, small caste, but still they are more fortunate than us. For the clouds, it's but obvious to have love for Krishna. But look at these Pulind Kanyaye. Pulind is a special word which is used for this community, the ladies of this community, this tribe. They are more fortunate than us. So now further it's being explained who are these Pulind. In Vrindavan, the forest of Vrindavan, Pulind, Shabar, Bhil Jati. Jati means caste. Shabar means like Shabri, the one in the pastimes of Lord Ram, Shabri. These different castes are there. Antajya. Antajya means untouchable, the one who is not supposed to be touched. Like in India, there's a word, there's a community called Banjare. So they roam around in different forests and they play music. So normally people don't touch them. They're like outcast. They live in the forest and they don't uh, mix along with others. So they are more below than Shudra, outcast. Now, since they're outcasts, that's why they live in the forest because nobody else will accept them. So this community is this caste is called Pulinda, Shabar, Bhil. They are different kind of caste, but these castes are untouchable. Antajya means untouchable. So these females who belong to this caste, the male section of this caste, what do they do? What work do they do? They they okay, they carry the, earlier there used to be palki, like people, you will carry people on your shoulders in a palanquin. So they would do such work. They are females, sorry, males of that community, that caste, or they would help other people who would, like there's a landlord or there is a farmer, the big people, the big landlords, the businessmen. So they would need help of small people. They would hire some people on salary, or you come and carry me on a planquin, and you make us, travel from one place to another place. Like, or you dig the ground for us. It's like a physical work. Pick up the stones. All these tasks, the male section of this caste do, pull in this caste. So this is how the male section would earn money. So their females, the female section, and their daughters, the kanya means daughter, they um, they they would roam around. Okay, they would roam around from one forest to another forest, and they would pick up dry sticks. They would collect dry sticks. They would collect cow dung, and whatever is small dry, whatever leaves or fruits which they find in the forest, or some shoots, roots, they collect all this, and they eat all this, and this is how they maintain themselves, because they are outcast. Pulind Shabar are like a kind of low caste. They never come near Krishna. So Maharaj is saying, listen this carefully. So now we know what is Pulinda Jati. Jati means caste. What male section does and what female section does. The male section, they carry people from one place to another place, sorry, one place to another place. They help the farmers. They dig the ground. They help people in farming. And the female sections, they go from one forest to another forest, and they collect the cow dung, the sticks, fruits, herbs, and some leaves, and this is how they eat. This is what they eat, and they maintain themselves. So that is why this Pulind Jati is like a low Jati, but these daughters of this community, they are beautiful, but they never go near Krishna. They never go near Krishna. And even Krishna never had any contact with them. No, neither Krishna had any contact with them, nor these Pulinda Kanya had any contact with Krishna. So there's a gap between them. Because Krishna lives in Braj with Brajvasi, and these outcast Pulinda Kanya, they live in the forest because they're outcast. So how they communicated, how they contacted, they can't come near Krishna, and Krishna can't go near them. But even though, still, despite all this, Krishna's Param Mohan Venu Nath, how can they be deprived of Krishna's Param Venu Nath? Now the flute song is going on, flute sound is going on. How can the Pulinda Kanya can't hear Krishna's flute song? Okay, fine, you live in the forest, you are outcast, you are belonging to a low caste, you are untouchable, you live in the forest, but that does not mean that you can't hear Krishna's flute song. You can still hear it. When Krishna plays his flute, these low caste female Puninda Kanyai, they hear that Krishna's flute song, and they get attracted. They are actually considered untouchable because of the, but they can't be untouchable from Krishna Prem. This is the point, important point. Nobody can touch them. They live, within their community, within their caste, within their group. They don't mix up with other people, but they can't be untouchable from Krishna Prem. Krishna Prem is for everyone. If How can someone, be deprived of Krishna's flute song? Even Krishna's flute song is for everyone. That is why these Pulinda Kanyai, they were not deprived of Krishna Prem. They are getting Krishna Prem. They are touching Krishna Prem. Nobody can stop that from them. Nobody can stop it. Like in Jagannath Puri, Sri Jagannath, in Jagannath Puri temple, who can go there? Have you ever been to Jagannath Puri temple? You, those who have not been, you can go along with Maharaj. We went last year. We Many devotees joined us. So when we enter the temple, it's written there. Only Hindus are allowed. Nobody else can enter the Jagannath Puri temple. Only Hindus are allowed. But Bhavan is for everyone. Jagannath is for everyone. Hindu, Muslim, Christian, both. No, even untouchable, touchable. I am untouchable, but I am not untouchable from Krishna's bhakti. I can't be untouchable for Krishna's bhajan. Shabri is untouchable. She belongs to a Bhilani caste, Shabar caste. But Ramji ate Shabri's bear. She can't go to Ram, but Ram can come to Shabri. So in that temple of Jagannath Puri, only Hindus are supposed to enter. But if a Muslim is there, a Christian or Buddhist or of any other caste or religion, if they love Krishna, if they want to do Krishna's bhajan, can't they do? So what will happen to them? They can't enter Krishna's Jagannath Puri's temple, and even Bhagwan uh, will not break the maryada. Krishna, Bhagwan never came in Jagannath Dev. So many times he came in the dreams of pujaris, but he never, you know, gave any other instructions to pujaris to break the maryada, to break maryada. So if Jagannath has to say something, he will come in the pujari, the dream of pujari, or in the dreams of the king. I want to do like this. The head priest, the pujari, Jagannath Dev will come in his dream and give him instructions. But he never said, "Oh, the king, please let everyone enter Jagannath Puri temple." He did not say this. So those who love Jagannath Dev, or those who love Jagannath Dev, they can't enter the temple. They can't see Jagannath. But Jagannath comes out. Nobody can stop me from going out. You can stop people from entering in my sing the gate. There's a Jagannath uh, figure. His name is Patit Pavan Jagannath. So even if you don't enter, you can still see Jagannath. He's so near the gate. This is for those who can't enter the temple. Jagannath came outside. Patit Pavan Jagannath, that's the name of that deity, which is near the entrance, Singh Darbar, the Dwar. So, um, Krishna can't meet the Pulind Kanyai. Pulind Kanyai can't meet Krishna, but they can definitely hear Krishna's flute song, Venunath, and they can love Krishna and they can do bhakti of Krishna. So these Pulinda Kanyai, they sometimes from distance they hear Krishna's flute song, and when they hear that flute song enters in their ears, they develop love in their heart. The sprout of Krishna prem, okay, in their heart when from distance they hear Krishna's flute song, and just by hearing Krishna's flute song, the sprout of prem takes place, it takes birth in their heart for Krishna's prem, the sprout of Krishna prem. So there's a stuff, there's a prayer um, by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It is said that Vrindavan's straw, trees, snakes, animals, birds, insects, bugs, all these, they are okay. Raghunath Das Goswami said this, that Vrindavan's even snake, tree, animal, bird, insect, bug, small bug. Keet patang means bugs, insects. They all, they all nourish Krishna's pastimes. They have a role in Krishna's pastimes. They assist Krishna's pastimes. And even in scriptures, they have been glorified. All have been glorified. And seeing their service, the service of a snake, the service of an insect, Brahma, Shiva, Adi, the great personalities, even bhakti yogis, they want to enter, take birth in Vrindavan in among these species. The great saints, Brahma, Shiva, they want to say, they desire to become a snake in Vrindavan. Why I don't become a bird in Vrindavan? Why I don't become a bug in Vrindavan? Why I don't become a snake in Vrindavan? But Brahma ji did not desire all this. He desired what? Tadburi bhage me vibhajan yad gokul ape katho andhi rajo. Brahmaji prayed like this. The birds, the animals, the snakes, I just want to become a stone in Vrindavan. Forget about snake, insects, bugs. No, I just want to become a stone. From this, we can understand even these Pulinda Kanyai, they are still humans. They are still humans. A snake, bird, animal, they are so fortunate to take birth in Vrindavan. So, this Pulinda Kanyai in Krishna's pastimes, how can they be deprived of Krishna's, mercy or Krishna's? Even the birds and animals are assisting in Krishna's pastimes. So these Pulinda Kanyai, these females of Pulinda caste, they are so nice and beautiful. Why can't they have a connection in Krishna's pastimes? They live in Vrindavan, even though it's forest, but it's in Vrindavan, it's Vrindavan's forest. It's not like that. They can't be deprived of Krishna's uh, mercy. Definitely, they are assisting in Krishna's pastimes. Somehow or the other, they are definitely assisting, even though they are outcast. They are still assisting something or the other in Krishna's pastimes. These Pulinda Ramaniya means beautiful damsels. They live in Giri Pradesh. Ramaniya means beautiful damsels, beautiful females. They live in the forest, or they live near a mountain or near a hill. Govardhan or Kedarnath, Badrinath, those who are in Braj. Kedarnath, Badrinath of Braj, they live near those mountains. And what they do when gopis go out of their house with the excuse of Surya Puja, worship of Lord Sun God. Maharaj is saying, listen carefully. We heard this so many times. How many of you have been to Kusum Sarovar? Govardhan. And we also see Kusum Sarovar, Radhe Radhe, Narad Kund, Radhe Radhe. So in the Parikrama of Kusum Sarovar, Govardhan, there is Kusum Sarovar. It's a pond where beautiful pastimes of Radha Krishna took place. And in front of Kusum Sarovar, there is Narad Kund, where Narad Muni performed austerities. And then there's furthermore, there is Mansi Ganga, Haridevji's temple. His darshan are available there. Further beyond Mansi Ganga. So at Kusum Sarovar, the gopis, they make an excuse actually to their in-laws. I'm going out for the worship of Lord's son, Suryadev, at Suryakund. So there's a place in Braj. It's called Suryakund. So they go at Suryakund. The reason is they want to worship Suryadev. And on the way, there is Kusum Sarovar. From Kusum Sarovar, they pluck flowers. They chain pushpa. They collect flowers. And then, so this worship of Surya, Lord Sun, is just an excuse, and they go out. They need an excuse to go outside their house actually. So what happens with these Pulinda Jati Kanyai? They are very simple-hearted, very simple. They are very simple, innocent, simples, living a simple life. They are very simple, and these Pulinda Kanyai. Kanya means female, daughters, young girls. So they also collect flowers and they give them to the gopis because their role is this. They are living in the forest, and in which part of the forest, which flower is there, they collect the dry sticks. This is their job. This is their job. This is the regular job. So they collect beautiful flowers. So gopis are searching for flowers. Where I can find a nice flower for Surya Puja. So these Pulinda Kanyai, they collect beautiful fragrant flowers and they give them to offer them to the gopis, and gopis take these flowers and they make nice beautiful garlands, and they offer that garland to Krishna. How Pulinda Kanya's energy seva reached Krishna. They collected flowers, they gave them to the gopis. Gopis made the garlands and they offered those garlands to Krishna. It's a long garland actually. Sometimes that garland would be on on Krishna's head, or sometimes on the neck of Krishna, or sometimes on the wrist of Krishna, Angad, and the gopis offered these to Krishna. Gopis, um, actually, gopis are very happy with the simple, sweet nature of this Pulinda Kanyai, and sometimes they so, so actually in return gopis speak about Krishna to them. Sham Sundar is like this, Krishna does that, Krishna eats this, Krishna eats that. Gopis think they collected flowers for us. We should also give something to them. We should also give something to them. If somebody does something for us, we desire to do something, we desire to give them something. What do gopis have to give? Will they give some expensive jewel of their earring or some nice expensive necklace of their neck? It's a very small thing for gopis. Gopis are giving them Krishna. Gopis are giving Krishna to Pulinda Kanyai. They are speaking Krishna Katha to these Pulinda Kanyai. Even like Gurudev, our Gurudev does this. We make a garland, and that garland we offer to Shila Gurudev. And how can we offer to Bhagwan? Krishna might not take from us. But if Gurudev offered that garland to Krishna, then Krishna is bound, badhya, majboor, bound. That now that garland has reached Krishna. Now this is Gurudev's service. He wanted to offer garland to Krishna, and we assisted in making the garland. So what we will get in return? Gurudev will give us Krishna Katha in return. This is our return gift. Oh, wages, our salary, our Vetan. Vetan means salary, Krishna Katha, by Kushila Gurudev. So this happened with me also once. Oh, some other day I will tell this. Everything can't be spoken. People will say, "Oh, wow, wow." It's not important to speak everything. So this is such a beautiful relationship here. Krishna can't meet Pulinda Kanyai. Pulinda Kanyai cannot go out and meet Krishna because they are outcast. But how the connection is taking place and who is the mediator who's developing their connection with Krishna, that is Braj Gopis. They picked up flowers, they gave them to gopis. Gopis made the garlands, and the garland is offered to Krishna, and simultaneously, I mean, afterwards they spoke about Krishna, Krishna's glories, his qualities to Pulinda Kanyai, the gopis. So when they heard Krishna Katha from the lips of gopis, so there was infusion of prem in the hearts of Pulinda Kanyai, like injection of Krishna prem. And this happens with sadhu sang, among sadhu sang. What is sadhu sang? It's like giving injection to which injection? Krishna prem, the injection of Krishna, and that gets injected in us. That injection. This is the significance of sadhu sang. That is why Sanatana Goswami said in Brihad Bhagavatamritam, he spoke the glories of sadhu sang, association of sadhus. How he explained? Mahat Sangam Mahatmyam Nivetam Parmarvritam Tirthartha Yoina Tirthartha Yoina Vipra Arso Sadhyo Adbhut Advata. It means that the uh, association of great personalities is so great that by their influence, by their impressions and influence, if you have not heard or read Brihad Bhagavatamritam, maybe some of you have heard. So it's a actually big, long pastime. But in this, it is said how the great personalities are like pure devotees, advanced devotees, senior devotees. It's the pastime from Gopakumar, pastime of Gopakumar. You might have heard. Gopakumar, he had no interest in Krishna Bhakti. But Krishna came himself and he gave Diksha and Siksha to Gopakumar. So Sanatana Goswami, he said this in this verse actually. Maharaj is asking if you want to hear further. So everyone is nodding like this actually. He's asking, do you want to hear further? And everyone is like nodding and smiling. If it is said, okay, now Maharaj is just going to repeat the translation, then he will explain it. I think here they're explaining about Gopakumar. Sanatana Goswami, this is from Brihad Bhagavatamritam. Here, small description is given about Gopakumar. It is said that uh, if sadhan is performed, practice, it's difficult for us to do sadhan. And by performing difficult sadhan, um, to attain the prem for Krishna prem, which is so difficult and it's not so easily attained. That prem, that love for Krishna, which is so rare, sudurlab, very rare, so easily, very easily. How this Brahman Gopakumar got? How? There's this doubt, confusion. For this, to clear out this doubt, here the glories of association of great personalities is explained, that this is the mahima, glories or significance of great personalities, association of great personalities, that even which is something which is so rare can be easily attained. Their association is such that even something which is so durlabh, rare, very difficult to be attained, Krishna Prem, that can be easily attained by the association of Krishna's devotees. Even if you do sadhan thousand times more difficult, but by just taking association of great personalities, you can very easily attain Krishna Prem. This is the glory of sadhu sang. If someone says, argue here that how is it possible? He did not do so much sadhan. He did not do Nirjala Ekadashi. He did not do 64 rounds. He did not do so many services. How he got so easily? And we are doing so much, so much by the association of pure devotees, that bhakti is accelerated instantly, accelerated. That level goes high, so high, just by 1 point of the association of great pure devotees. If someone thinks by sitting okay, okay, Nirjala Ekadashi is coming, so I'll start having coconut water from today onwards, so that I remain hydrated, prepared for the Nirjala Ekadashi. And he made it so difficult, actually. But if on that day, if we take a vow, we take a sankalp, vow, pratigya. If today I will not do anything else, I will not use my WhatsApp, no social media, no Facebook, no Instagram. One day complete fasting from social media, completely. I'll wake up at 4 a.m. and until next day, I will only chant Harinam and nothing else. Harinam and hearing Harikatha. Nothing else I will do. This is special Ekadashi, Nirjala Ekadashi. Then you see, so easily you can do that Ekadashi. If we hear Harikatha on that day, we chant Harinam, then very easily we can do Nirjala Ekadashi. If we become so stressed out, tension, it's a big tension to do Nirjala Ekadashi. Then what will happen? We can't fast on that day actually. Maharaj is saying don't sleep the whole night. Is it possible? Don't eat, don't drink entire day. Just chant, just hear, and don't sleep on that night. So you might plan to sleep for extra hours from tomorrow onwards, and drinking extra water, because Friday is Nirjala Ekadashi coming. This is called Kalisht Sadhan. Kalisht Sadhan. Very difficult sadhan. But we people, um, okay, we used to do like this actually. All the Ekadashis like this. In group, when we do together, then it becomes easy. If you do this in a group, chanting Harinam, and when you feel sleepy, you just walk or stand up, play the mridang, and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So if you feel sleepy, just stand up, play mridang, play kartal, and then do kirtan, and read 10th Katha Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita. In group, if you do in a group, it becomes so easy, and if you're alone, it's so difficult to do it. And if while hearing Harikatha and it's 1 a.m. and you are like feeling sleepy, first you will feel sleepy at 11 p.m. No, wake up, do kirtan, Then next again you'll feel sleepy at 1:30, 2 o'clock a.m. That will be too extreme, very difficult. Then you go and wash your face or take a shower. And after shower, then at 4 a.m. you will feel sleepy again. Oh, ho, ho. You can't control on that sleep. And to make that sleep run away, what you can do? Very easy process. Very easy processes. Start criticizing. Start criticizing. He's like this. She was like that. She did this. She did that. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Even I felt that. Yeah, even I saw that. All Krishna Katha one side and criticizing on other side, which will be heavier. Your sleep would go away, and then she won't come, and the blood in your body will become hot, warm. It's so easy to run away the sleep, make sleep run away. But on that day, if you criticize anybody, if you make any offenses, our fast will also end. Even our fast will be broken if we criticize anybody on that day, on Ekadashi. So we should be careful that we don't criticize anybody on Ekadashi and special tithis. So that is why we will hear Venugit on Friday, on the day of Ekadashi, Nirjala Ekadashi. We will hear Venugit. If I am not busy here, then we can hear it for a long time. But I have programs here, so let's see what happens. गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल श्री वेणु गीत की जय Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.